everyone. This is Jane with Barlow Herbal. And in this video, I'm excited to share with you my overall strategy in formulating the amazing lung blend. Now, this was something that I formulated about 10 years ago. And what I have discovered after working with my dad's formulations and bringing them out to the public now for a couple of decades is that there was a strategy that my dad had when he was putting blends together. And as I started really studying the herbs that he put together in something like mycoside and clarkia and some of the blends that he did a bunch of singles. But there is a real cool part of Western herbalism and even Chinese herbalism and medicine where the herbs complement each other more than they would than if they were just in singles. And I love a bunch of single herbs. We bring out, we have them, but there is something really, really special that happens when you blend herbs together, and it's done with care, with education, with deep research, and then inspiration and guidance. And for me, it's a deeper wisdom that I drop into. I connect to myself. And many times my dad drops in and helps me. So I wanted to share some of my thought process and a lot of the information that I gathered when I was formulating Lung Blend, because this has become one of our most cherished formulations for helping to nourish, support, and help the lungs work at their best. Because if you think about it, our lungs are something we don't really pay attention to until we have compromised breathing. And it seems like every year, especially where we are here in Utah, and I know this is a lot of places around the country and around the world, there are fires and big fires, and it affects the breathing of many people that live in the areas, or even as the weather systems move around the globe. You know, we get a lot of smoke from the California fires almost every year. We have a lot of fires here in the state of Utah. And I know people all over the country and even all over the world that have experienced compromised breathing simply from the forest fire smoke and the different things that our lungs are exposed to. I just want to share some of this with you. So at the very beginning here, this is what this blend is designed to do, because there are 6 beautiful herbs and they all bring something to the table that is really important. So here's what these different things affect the respiratory system simultaneously. So think about this. Supports healthy airway function, helps loosen and move mucus, super important, soothes irritated respiratory tissues, encourages comfortable breathing, supports the body's normal inflammatory response, provides mild antimicrobial aromatic constituents, and balances stronger herbs with gentler soothing herbs. So this is actually a more layered approach than just simply, here's one herb to go after, a lung infection or compromised breathing. And there's reasons that I layered these herbs together. So the first one in here is Osha Root. Osha is a very stimulating herb, and this is one of my favorite herbs that's actually very difficult to get. It grows high up in the mountains. It's also known as bear root. And the bears will come out of hibernation, dig for this root, and it will help them clear their lungs and their airways after having a long winter of hibernation. So that's one of the reasons that this root got its common name of bear root. And it smells amazing. In fact, it's one of my favorite. It's very expensive. It's hard to get. It is a little bit, I believe, in some areas on the endangered species list. So this must be wildcrafted with care. It's never been cultivated. So this is something that is harvested and wildcrafted out where it grows up high in the mountains typically, and is a very amazing stimulant herb. So this is what its primary role is as a respiratory stimulant and an immune supportive herb. And it's been traditionally used for congested lungs, viral respiratory illnesses, sore throat, and deep coughs. This is what it's traditionally been used for. Now, the second herb in this is mullein. And I know this is one of my dad's favorite herbs, and mullein is something he talked about, he used. In fact, he even did an oil-based extract of mullein and put it into ear drops for ear infections. That was something that he brought out and had as one of his formulations when he was alive. That's something I actually have not brought out, but mullein leaf made it into my lung blend formula for this. Now, the primary role of mullein is it's very soothing and it's an expectorant. So again, it can actually help clear mucus, okay? Mullein is one of the classic lung tonics in Western herbalism. It traditionally helps these things: calm irritated bronchial tissues, support normal mucus production, because think about when you get a really productive cough, it can help to clear that out. This is what mullein does. It loosens congestion and can ease dry, irritated coughs. So it's very soothing. So it's very complementary to something like Osha. Now, the next herb in here is called Lungwort. And this is something that not a lot of people are familiar with, but this is also one of those complementary herbs. It's not a stimulating herb like Osha. So its primary role in this formula is a traditional lung trophorestorative. Lungwort earned its reputation through centuries of European use for chronic respiratory complaints. So this is very much a European herb that is known throughout traditional European herbalism and has been used for centuries. Now, here's why it's in this formula. It goes after bronchial irritation, a chronic cough, and also recovery following a respiratory illness. So this is something that it helps in the restoration part of recovering from a respiratory illness. The fourth one in this is Lobelia. Now, Lobelia is also known as Indian tobacco. This is probably the most powerful herb in the blend. So you might think maybe Osha would be, or mullein, or even peppermint, which is one I'm getting to. But Lobelia is actually the most powerful stimulating herb in this blend. So its primary role is bronchial relaxant and respiratory stimulant. It's traditionally been used in very small amounts to relax the smooth muscles of your bronchial system, support easier breathing, encourage deeper respiration, and assist in expiration. So assist in helping to clear the mucus again. So this is an herb that needs to be put in, just like the others, in exactly the right percentage. And this is partly what I did when I was in the formulation stage of lung blend, and I worked through all the herbs I wanted in the blend, exactly what they were supposed to do and why, how they would support the other herbs, and then what the percentage was of each one of these herbs. And like I said, this is one of my favorite blends that I'll sometimes just take a squirt of it. My favorite way is to take it straight, squeeze up the droppers as much as I can, and just squirt it straight in my mouth. If you ever find yourself with an inclination to do that, and I would suggest trying it, you will feel it open up your airways immediately. And it might even make you kind of cough a little bit, which is actually good. It's supposed to. Okay. So that would be something I would suggest. In fact, that is my favorite way to take lung blend, is just straight. You can put it in a little bit of water. But if you're dealing with something, compromised airways, all of the things that our lungs, need nourishment for, try it straight. I'd love to know what you think. Okay. It might be something you do already. Now, the next one is plantain. Okay. Now, the primary role for plantain in this formula is that it's a tissue healer. So it helps to repair tissue. And in particular, it has an affinity for the lungs. Okay. So what it does in traditional herbalism is it contains something called mucilage, which is very, very soothing. Something like slippery elm also contains mucilage, which is really good for soothing the stomach. So you'll find slippery elm in different things. But in this one in particular, plantain, is to help soothe the airways and with that mucilage. Okay. It also acts as an astringent, and it gives support for irritated throat and your bronchial tissues. And it also complements mullein. The different active ingredients in plantain helps to complement the active ingredients in mullein. Now, the final one in this is peppermint. And this one I'd already had these other 5 herbs when I was almost done. I figured, well, this might be it. 5, this is perfect. And then I had this thought. It was actually something, it takes me about 18 to 24 months to actually formulate and bring out a blend like this. to get all of the ingredients right. It goes through research and development through my manufacturer. Basically, I put it all together in the right percentages. And I thought there was something that was missing that was cooling. So I thought, well, why don't I add a mint? So peppermint was the very top one on my list. And so I did a bunch of research on how peppermint would potentially support all of the other herbs that I wanted in this blend and how it would complement it. So the primary role of peppermint is as an aromatic respiratory support. So think about that. It's aromatic. Think about all of the essential oils. And when you use your essential oils in a diffuser, you get a lot of benefit medicinally from breathing in through your respiratory tract essential oils. So I wanted something that would help do that. And peppermint was the perfect answer to that. So that's its primary role. The other things that peppermint contributes are these. It gives a cooling sensation. Okay. It opens the perception of airflow. So one of its actions is not actually opening airflow, but it creates the sensation of opening airflow. Okay. So think about that and the importance of that. It supports comfortable breathing. It has mild antimicrobial properties. And here's the kicker. It improves flavor. And I also believe that things like Osha, if you've ever tasted just pure Osha or smelled it, it is so powerful. And I think it smells and tastes amazing. But then you add the aromatic quality, the taste quality, the menthol, the cooling sensation of peppermint into something that is to nourish and support and protect your lungs. Then you've got the perfect storm, if you will, in adding peppermint into this blend. So here's some of the things that I've written down on why these herbs work so well together. So instead of multiple herbs doing exactly the same job, okay, so you wouldn't want to just put Osha and Lobelia together. They're both stimulants. Now you certainly could, but what I was after was an absolutely well-rounded formula, just like when I do any other blends. Just like my dad did with Mycoside or Clarkia, and what I did prior to the lung blend with our very popular Immunity Boost. They all have this special job. So instead of multiple herbs doing the exact same job, each one gets to contribute something different. So with this blend, the Osha stimulates, the Mullein moistens, the Plantain repairs, the Lungwort nourishes, Lobelia relaxes, and peppermint opens and circulates. That's what those are all designed to do. And think about all those things happening inside of your beautiful lung tissue. In fact, one of my favorite things about learning on what the lungs do to regenerate is think about all the body parts that you have. And every single body part becomes new after certain periods of time. Like every 30 days, you have all new skin. And your bones, I believe, take 7 years to get all new bones. Even we are learning that your heart and your brain become new after certain periods of time. Now, those are the two organs that take the longest. But here's the cool thing about your lungs. Your lungs take 6 to 9 months to become completely new. And from what I studied and when I researched this, it looks like 6 months is kind of the golden spot. But some people, it depends on your lung tissue, how it's been compromised, if you've been a lifelong smoker or you've been simply exposed to lots of things that compromise your lung health. It might take a little bit longer than 6 months. So we always say 6 to 9 months, and then you have beautiful new lung tissue. Now, here's one more thing I'm going to layer into this. If you think about the different organs and the organ systems in your bodies and the emotions that they hold, if you have chronic lung issues, the main emotion that your lungs hold is the emotion of sadness. So this is something we all go through grief. We lose people we love. We go through really hard times. We have things as humans that cause us deep grief. And this is one of the things I believe can not only help while you're healing emotionally, and if you find that your lungs might be a little bit compromised, this is a beautiful thing to add. But then another thing to really think about is your lungs hold patterns. If you were a person who suffered from pneumonia when you were a little kid, and every year you get a little touch of pneumonia or some type of lung issue, that's where your lungs tend to hold a pattern of, oh, I'm getting this virus, I'm getting this infection from whatever it may be, a cold or flu, and it settles in your lungs. And this is where I believe this blend has the ability to break a pattern. So just know that the information I share is not meant to be medical advice. This is just meant to entertain and educate you. As always, with any herbs, any supplements, anything that you add into your routine, please do your own due diligence. And things like taking during pregnancy, we don't recommend. And also things like Lobelia can cause a little bit of nausea if you take too much of it. That's why this one works particularly well when it's in a blend with other supportive, nourishing herbs. So I would love to know what you think about, first of all, this beautiful blend of herbs. Are you familiar with them? Do you use them? Have you worked with them? I know many people that tune in and pay attention to what we do here. They are very familiar with not just herbs and herbal remedies, but many people make their own herbal tinctures, herbal salves. And for me, it's a super fun thing to do. So just know that many herbs are designed to be powerful on their own, but when they are strategically and carefully blended to complement each other, they can work miracles in this amazing human body. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.